Hey everybody, welcome to Social Work Sessions Live, and I am Melanie, your social work development coach, and we are ready to get it today. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their day. Hopefully you had a wonderful and awesome Easter holiday, Resurrection Sunday for some, for me. But I'm just checking in with you all. I want to kind of give space. I'm excited for the topic tonight. We are reconvening from last week because we did not have it last week. But like I said, we were going to pick back up on the following. So today is April the 6th. And at least that's what it is for me where I'm at. And again, I'm in North Carolina for those of you who do not know. But let me do a sound check right quick. Just want to make sure we are hitting on all cylinders. So give me one moment. And bear with me if you hear an echo. Just want to do some sound checks. Let's see here. Where is the volume over here? I believe I'm good, but just want to make sure. Let's see here. Was it this one? There we go. There we go. I think that's a little bit louder. And for anyone that's just coming in, definitely you are welcome here. This is Social Work Sessions Live. My name is Melanie. I'm your social work development coach. And if you can, let me know a little bit about yourself. If you're a BSW student or MSW student, definitely comment below and let me know. Here on this channel, we talk about all things social work. And we have a series that we are doing right now, which we do every Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, where we have a live sessions and we talk about different topic matters as it relates to the social work field and the social work process as being a student. So really pretty much my channel is all inclusive to student and professional development. That's all of the nutshell. That's what I value. That's what I needed in my journey of obtaining my BSW MSW. And that's what I give back now that I'm moving and progressing within my career. So tonight I am so excited. Like I am so excited. I have missed you all. I am talking about the BSW and MSW application process, in particular to how it relates to the personal statement. I'm going to be giving you some tips there. But I actually found my old one, you all. I have been going through some documents and I came across it. I was like, oh my goodness, is this the actual, like, it's literally, this is the actual, like, I'm serious. So this is the actual, the date on here is for the year 2018. So this is actually my MSW application process, like what I had to submit as it relates to, we called it a narrative. For my BSW, my undergraduate, it was pretty much more a personal statement or positional statement. But here for my MSW application, it was called a narrative. I had to submit that. So I'm going to really walk you through, you know, just highlighting some areas about what it took and what it detailed. I even have my my old resume that was attached to it because it was a requirement. So when I tell you that I'm giving you like my old resume on here, like, oh my goodness. So I'm really excited. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I already know what the topic is going to be. I already know, because I felt like that was just like, oh my goodness, is this the actual application? It took me like through memory lane. For those of you who don't know, I graduated my BSW in the year 2017, and I graduated with my MSW in the year 2019. So this narrative and this paperwork here is actually from my MSW application. So this is what, goodness, 19, 20, 21, almost, is it? Yeah, it is. It's 3 years old. It's 3 years old. So I'm pretty excited about it. I'm going to give a couple of more minutes, probably 2 minutes. So the time now is 8:38. and I'm going to give it to about 8:40 before we jump and dive right in to today's Social Work Live. So how have you all been doing? How have you all been doing? What have you been doing? I know some of you all were on spring break. Comment below. Let me know what some of the things that you did for spring break, things that you wanted to. I know some of you all are graduating, prepare for graduation. Like, definitely comment below and let me know. Are you preparing yourself for graduation? Like, are you feeling burnt out? And I need to be able to also see my notes that I have for you all today, because I want to always make sure that I'm prepared. So I'm going to be looking at those two today. So we have about 1 more minute. I'm going to kind of position this a little bit better while we're waiting for people to come on. And if you are watching, welcome, welcome. You are watching Core Inspirations, the channel Core Inspirations. My name is Melanie. I'm your social work development coach. And we are giving space right now for people to come on in. This is Social Work Live, where we talk about all things social work. Definitely don't forget to like and share this social work content, because there's so many people with different people that I talk to. They're always looking and trying to figure out other people that are in the field. And it's really important for them to be able to kind of like connect, to kind of like stay plugged in with people throughout their journey or their goals. So definitely share the content, let people know about the content here on the Core Inspirations channel. For those of you who are new to this channel, we talk about all things social work as it relates to your student process, career, personal and professional development. So we are definitely versed in encouraging one another around here. If you have not subscribed, if you resonate with anything that I may go over tonight, definitely, if it resonates with you, definitely subscribe so that you can be officially welcomed into the social work tribe. And like I said, we talk about all things social work. And as of right now, each Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 p.m., we come on and we bring in different topic matters. So I'm going to be getting right into the topic, because the time is 8:41. So welcome, welcome. Like I said, if you are here and you want to introduce yourself, feel free to do so. Drop your name down. I would definitely welcome you. And if not, if you want to just sit back and relax and observe and take in the content that's being given tonight, you are more than welcome to do so. So moving right along. The BSW and MSW application process. And I'm going to be giving some tips for the personal statement. And this is pretty much all information as it relates to, and when I say all, a lot of times what I do, I give you my actual experience. I don't tell you that my experience trumps other experiences. It's just a collective, something to give you insight into an actual process through a person who's actually been there, done that. So I went through the process for the BSW, I went through the process for the MSW, and I'm going to share that. Now, keep in mind, the application, the admissions processes for different social work programs does vary. So some people may not call it most social work programs will say something or go within the guidelines of personal statements, have different criteria, but every school is deemed per their guidelines, per their policies and their procedures. So just because you may hear something that's maybe a little different from what your program may be requiring, or once you apply you see that you have to do more or less, just take pretty much into consideration that I'm giving you based upon my programs. Okay, so I definitely wanted to kind of like start off with letting you all know that. But jumping right into it, like I said, this is a video that we're doing today, really talking about the BSW MSW application process. So this is like, okay, for sure that you're wanting to pursue the profession of social work, and now you're wanting to begin that journey of becoming a professional social worker. So I'm going to start off right now just by reflecting. So I definitely have my MSW information that I'm going to be getting into, but I want to start off where I started off at. And where I started off applying to the BSW program. So just kind of going through the memory lane. At this time, I was working at the Department of Social Services, and I was considering going back to school because of the work that I was doing there. I really enjoyed the direct practice, like really engaging with customers, and children and families, and really like front end type, work. And I was there for a while. I was there within my career for 9 years, and then throughout the trajectory of my career and the duration of my career, it was there where I decided, you know what, I missed the engagement. And as I kind of state in some other videos, but I always want to be considerate of people that may not know me or may never heard of me. I always want to kind of reflect and rebuttal based upon people being brand new people to the new viewers to the channel. So I was working full time at that time, and I wanted to go more back and verse into working more, like I said, in direct practice with my families. And I was just saying, you know what, I missed that engagement because as I grew within my career, I got more and more and more behind the scenes. So I said, you know what, I really miss really working with people. I knew that at that time that was something that I was missing throughout my career. And I just made the choice. I had researched sociology and social work. So I thought about it for like a year. I want to say almost close to 2 years before I really made a decision because I wasn't really sure how it was going to work on my work schedule. I was in a position at that time where I could not stop working. I had to still work. So throughout my whole BSW program, I worked full time and I went to school full time. So it was definitely an experience, but it was something that I can remember reflecting back, trying to figure out like how was I going to really kind of like make this fit, within my schedule. So just starting off with that, my BSW, I'm just going to really hit and do some highlighting of different things from the BSW process to MSW process. And then I also have some tips I'm going to share with you as it relates directly to the personal statement. And that'll be pretty much used interchangeably. Personal statement more probably for BSW programs, and then maybe a narrative. They call it a narrative for my MSW application. So those tips I'm going to be providing in this tonight's session can be used interchangeably. And then I'm going to be, walking you through my actual application. I could not believe that I found it. So as it relates to the BSW application and the personal statement, I remember, I'm just going to express to you about that day. So I remember, having to gather the paperwork and knowing what I was having to write. And it included like my reason for social work. So that was one of the biggest questions. Like, what is your reason for choosing the social work profession? I remember having to think back upon that. I remember sharing some life events about different things that I had been through in my personal life and my personal journey. And I shared some of those things in my personal statement. I also kind of reflected based upon like my need and my want and my desire of really wanting to help people on a greater scale. At the time when I was at Department of Social Services, I was underneath eligibility redetermination. So we did a lot of, rolling out federal and state welfare programs, So I was very versed in that process and very, and I enjoyed it because, like I said, when I first came to the Department of Social Services, I didn't have knowledge of what it took to process a food stamp case or what it took to process a Medicaid case. So I was like, I didn't know. So throughout me growing and throughout me learning so much information, like I said, I first started off, I was in an intake. I was pretty much in an intake role. And I would be the person to get the client and bring them to the back and pretty much conduct their interview and gather all the demographics and identification verification. And I would kind of walk them through just the program and then determine the eligibility. So I got versed in that, and I really missed that in engagement, So I talked about a lot of that, my experiences already with being in social work. But I'm going to talk to you more about the actual day that I actually interviewed. So it was a panel interview. It was me, one of my teachers that was going to be my professor. She was on the left hand. Like I can still remember, I was sitting in the middle. It was a panel right across from me and like on the side. So like an L-shaped panel. And I was sitting in the front, and it was my professor to be on my left hand side, the chairperson at the front who was responsible for designing and creating the curriculum for the social work program. And then there was another professor on her side, on her right. And I remember being so nervous. It was me and this other young girl, and she was like, "Are you nervous?" And I was like, "Yeah, are you nervous?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm nervous." So we was really, we had to sign up for slots. I remember that. And then when we was doing the social work interview at our school, they were only doing interviews one time per semester. And I want to say I took mine in the spring semester, I want to say. But I remember it had to be something that I had to sign up for ahead of time, that it wasn't a whole lot of, if you miss this opportunity, you just can wait a couple of months. No, it was like a certain amount of time that you had to sign up for it, because it was not being offered on a regular basis. So after I signed up, and after I submitted my information, we had to then have an actual social work interview to see if we were going to be accepted into the program. And I think at this time I was taking my undergraduate courses. I was already taking courses at the time, but I hadn't actually applied to be like all the way accepted in. So I remember like, oh my goodness, what if I don't get accepted? So you have all these different thoughts and memories and like nerves and feelings that's kind of go through your head, which is totally normal. Like, it's a new process. You're having to sit amongst professionals who's already been there, done that, where you're trying to go, and you don't know how it's going to go. And it's just so much weight and so much, how can I say, anticipation, being excited, but also just the unknown, right? Like not knowing that there's a possibility for me to be accepted, or there's a possibility for me to be denied, so that comes with pressure and it comes with stress. But I remember I said, you know what? I'm going to be who I'm going to be. And I genuinely have a passion for this work. I really genuinely have a passion for the profession. I had some related experience already being at the Department of Social Services. I just wanted to get more professional and more advancement, more, in depth in the professional, just the professional aspects of really what it was to become a professional social worker. I was a case manager, I was an intake specialist, I was a human specialist, but I was not a social worker. I was working within the social work practices in regards to like some of the duties of social work, but I wasn't a professional social worker. So I was just very excited about really just kind of taking that next step, as it relates to really helping people, really helping people and really impacting their lives. And I wanted to do more than what I was doing at the Department of Social Services. Like I said, I was there for 9 years, and I felt like I really learned so much, but I felt like there was still so much more that I wanted to do as it related to being in the person's home with them, dealing with other issues outside of some of the limited resources that they had. I really was like, I really, really, really want to work more hands on hand with families. So I remember going into the actual room. It was my time, and they had, I think, misplaced my paperwork or something like that for the moment. So I was like, okay, just give me a little bit of time to kind of like, see the room, feel the room, pray. I did that before, after, during, all of that. But it kind of like, it was the thing that I needed. They had to send someone to go print off my paperwork that I already had submitted. And I think they was already doing interviews. I think they had probably took a break, took lunch, and then came back and probably forgot to get my information or whatever happened. But I know that they needed to go and do it. So I was able to make, small talk and conversation. And like I said, one of the persons, I didn't have any classes with any of the professors that was actually at that panel at that time. I was aware of the chairperson. We had conversations here and there, so I wasn't totally uncomfortable, and I wasn't totally like unaware. I had even seen the other professors on campus before, but I never had like taken any of those courses. But I was, how can I say, I was acquainted with at least seeing them, in the social work program. So we got into the program, and they was just asking me questions pretty much related to my personal statement and all of the requirements that I had to submit. And I just flowed. By the time I got into my why, and that's one of the tips that I'm going to be providing too, but by the time I got to the portions of what I wrote in my personal statement, I provided my passions, my reasons for choosing the field of social work. I provided my resume. I went into details about really what my passions were, what my journey was like before I got into wanting to really consider social work as a profession. And by the time I started talking, I was just totally comfortable. All of my nerves kind of like went away. Then they was asking me different questions about some of the things that I wrote. They was asking me questions about what I expected from the program. One of the panelists, one of the interviews asked me about pretty much like time management, like what was my plan for some of that, like because the program was so rigorous, what was my plan, especially with them knowing that I was going to school full time and working full time. So just, regular standard questions they were asking me. And I think as I continued on and continued to express myself and be myself, I felt okay. I felt okay afterwards. And as you all can see down below, I not only got accepted in the program, but I also got my BSW degree and have went on thus far. So I'm going to go to the chat. Hey, girl, what's going on, Rosie? Hey, I missed you. How are you doing? How are you doing? Hopefully you enjoyed your day. How was your spring break, Missy? How was your spring break? But yeah, that's just kind of me giving you just an overview of what my experience was like with my BSW interview. Like, I remember it being 3 people. It was 2 women and 1 male. And I was just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But again, like I said, I just went for it. I went for it. By the time I started talking about the reasons why I chose social work, I was like, okay. So that's going to lead me into really the tips. I'm just going to get right into the tips with that because those were some of the things that I really put into place. So tip number 1 is be yourself. Like, be yourself. You have to realize that you are the person applying. There's no one else just like you. There's so many, like the field of social work is definitely growing. Like even in the space, even here on YouTube, a lot of people are really, starting channels and talking about social work and their process and their experiences with social work. So the profession is definitely growing. It's going to continue to grow. So it's really good to be able to have someone that really can give you insight about, what their process looks like, But their process, my process, is not going to necessarily be your process, So I would tell you to be yourself. Be yourself. Be your authentic self. It's so important that you do that because you're representing who you are. You're not here to put on a show. This is something that you're going to learn. You're going to be challenged on a lot of different things as you're learning the curriculum, as you're going through your program. I will also say be yourself as it relates to some of your life events. But I will say this also in my tips in regards to being yourself. When it comes to the personal statement, it does ask for certain, reasons why you want to choose the social work profession. It does ask for certain different experiences. I will caution you and tell you this, though. Any life experience that you provide, be mindful that, you provide something that you don't mind other people knowing. So something that you don't mind others sharing. I wouldn't say to provide something that you're going to be embarrassed about or something that, you are not over that particular situation or challenge or obstacle, if that's what you want to do. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you a little insight because sometimes you may share something trying to, really get in, and then it may be something really, really personal that you're not all the way over 100% over with, and it may, cause some other ramifications further down the line, or you may feel like, what, I don't feel like I should have shared that, so I definitely would caution you to be mindful of that, but definitely be authentically you, because there's no one else like you, and you have to understand, like, you're going and embarking on a little journey, and it's about, you learning yourself and growing into yourself. And if you can't even be yourself as it relates to just applying for a program, how are you going to be yourself and show up when you actually graduate and become a professional in the field? There's so much things to learn as it becomes a social worker. There's so many different theories and modalities and interventions and practices and procedures that you learn within the profession, but being who you are really adds that difference, because you can have 2 social workers that have come from the same school, but because of their personality, because of who they are, because of how they present themselves and who they are, and because they're 2 separate individuals, it helps reach certain people. So someone needs you for who you really are. So I would definitely say be yourself. Oh, I missed you too, Rosie. I missed you too, hon. I really have missed you too. You said, I've been busy with writing assignments, trying to finish as early as possible. Glad I caught the live. Yes, ma'am. I'm glad you caught the live too. So yeah, cause it's countdown now. We in April. You're graduating next month, Mama. You're graduating next month. So how are you feeling about that? I give you some time to put that in there before I go on. While I go on to the next tip. But yeah, I'm glad to see you too. You're faithful around here. But the second tip I would say is reflect upon your why. When I was doing my MSW, and like I said, I'm going to get into that as well. But when I was doing my MSW application, when I was definitely really when I was doing my BSW, because at that time I was new to the field, I didn't know really all what to expect. I had to reflect upon my why. Why do I want to be a BSW student? Why do I want to pursue the profession of social work? Why? What is it about this profession that I feel like I can do? You know, and mine was big on impact and really loving to help people, genuinely coming from a space of hardships in my own life, you know, but not only just hardships, but really being able to be a representation of people that look like me, that have had similar backgrounds, and letting people know that just because you have times that you may be down and out, just because you have times that are, you know, unforeseen challenges, things that make you ashamed, the things that make you embarrassed, things that you may not be proud of, situations that foresee, you know, outcomes that you didn't have control over, that you still can be your best self, that you still can grow, that you still can develop, and really helping people in sometimes the most worst time in their lives, letting them know that they still can move on and become better, you know. You don't have to be a product of your environment. You don't have to be a product of your circumstances. And I love to empower and give back, you know. And I find myself doing that for free. Like I find myself doing that because that's who I am, you know. That's a part of who I am. That's one of the values that I have. And it really resonated me, the work that social workers do. It resonated with me with the core values that the profession has. And as it relates to the principles and the standards, like I definitely, I saw that it was something that we definitely was aligned with. And so my personal values matched a lot of the professional core values as it relates to our code of ethics. So it was something that I had to tap into my why. And I would encourage you to do the same. I would encourage you to definitely do the same. Also, I would say too, my third tip as it relates to like compiling and giving yourself time to actually write the actual position statement. I said, take your time. Give yourself time to make several revisions because you want to make sure that you're writing a well-written personal statement. You want to start early to give yourself time to really reflect, to kind of get your life events or your situations or your whys to kind of like, you know, allow it your paper to flow, your personal statement to flow. You want to make sure that you're structuring your paper, you're going over your punctuation, and you're wanting giving yourself time to make revisions because, like I said, this is something that is required. Some people do get in and some people do not get in. I know a lot of times people think, oh, it's social work, people love people. No, some people do not get in because some people have not really taken the time, and that's not always the reason why they don't get in, but some people sometimes don't take the time to really give themselves time and adequate timing to really structure and then execute what they plan. You know, you want to plan it, you want to structure it, you want to write out the different drafts if that's your thing, and then you want to reread it. So I'm not telling you how to do it, but you can kind of give yourself some time. You may do all of these things in one step, and that's your business, you know, but definitely give yourself time for revisions to kind of look over your personal statement. So I definitely would say that. The fourth tip, I would say, be mindful of your deadline. So what is the application deadline? You want to definitely make sure that you're being mindful of the BSW MSW deadlines for your application because you want to work above and against that deadline. And then I will also say, too, be mindful of extensions. I know with my MSW program, they had an initial deadline, but then it further down, it got pushed out a little bit. So I actually had an extension. Well, anyone that was applying, it had an extension for applying to the MSW program. And that's information that you definitely want to be, mindful of and be aware of because you don't want to, submit something outside of the deadline. You want to make sure because sometimes they only open up the program certain particular times of throughout the year, depending on how the social work program is actually developed. So definitely be mindful to be aware of your deadlines and extensions. Yes, so let me see here. She said, I know. She said, I just signed up for my commencement date. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, girl, you better go ahead. You said you just signed up for your commencement date. It's on Saturday, May 22nd. I will be getting my cap and gown next week. You better go. Oh, Rosie, like just take a moment, girl. Just take a. How are you feeling? Like everything is like surreal right now. She said that she just signed up for her commencement date. It's on Saturday at May 22nd. Are you going to have a morning graduation or commencement? Is it going to be an afternoon or evening? I will be getting my cap and gown next week. So surreal at this point. Yes, I didn't even see you say surreal before I said it. Like it's a reality. All of that hard work. Oh my goodness. Then Rosie said the School of Social Work be doing a virtual ceremony too. Okay, okay, well that's definitely good. Yes, I actually paid to get my Yes, I actually paid to get my personal statement for MSW application read and edited. It also good to very yes, you actually paid to get your personal statement. Okay, I never heard well, everybody have their own preference, but you actually paid to get yours done. Okay. Yes, I actually paid to get my personal statement for MSW application read and edited. Okay, you paid for it to get read and edited. Got it. So yeah, sometimes that's a good point. Sometimes people do need second and third pairs of eyes to kind of look at it because this is a major thing. This is an investment, and you want to put your best foot forward. So do what you feel like is best for you. So I'm glad, and I thank you for sharing that too, Rosie. She said that it is also good to very personable and use keywords that demonstrate your knowledge. Yes, yes. I'm going to be talking about some other admission and requested documents as well. I just really, if you're just coming into the live, I just started off pretty much expressing to you about my BSW interview when I actually had to go before a panel, well, applying to my BSW program and what I had included in my positional statement with my BSW. And then, like I said, I was doing some digging and I actually have found my actual application for my MSW. So I'm going to kind of go over to that and we're about to jump right into that too. So, yeah, we're going to definitely jump into that. So, BSW, just to kind of recap a little bit about what I was saying, it pretty much asked me some reasons why I chose social work as a profession. I had to sit before a panel. Like I let you know, it was 3 people for my particular social work interview panel. I had to sign up for it early. It was not offered throughout every semester. It was only a select semesters that it was offered. I was also asked within my personal statement and provided like my social work experience, any related experience, and then any current or previous experiences that I had. I also wanted to make sure that I was very aware too. This is something else I want to provide too. Being very aware of what your school mission is. And then also on top of that, being aware of your school mission, but also what are your school's areas of practice? Like my program area of practice was cultural competency. So I had questions surrounding the area of practice. So definitely verse yourself in knowing what the school mission is, and then also what your school's area of practices are, and which ones, definitely the ones that you are going to be pursuing. You know, so if you're on a clinical track, definitely be aware of that. What is your school take on that particular area of practice, and then how does that also tie into the school's mission? So those are definitely things you definitely want to align and see what values or what things that may resonate within the mission or the areas of practice, and incorporate that into your personal statement, because the schools wants to know too that you're researching too. They want to be able to know that you're competent and knowing who they are with the services and programs they provide, but then also knowing that you're doing your due diligence with that. So I'm definitely going to go there. And I guess what I can do, we can go right there. I'm going to save it for last, my application, what pretty much was in mine. So some of the additional things that I would definitely say that you need in regards to your application for your MSW. And like I said, mine was actually called a narrative at that time. We had to submit so many different things. So I'm just going to kind of list off some of the different things, and then I'm going to kind of go into some of the highlights of my actual paper, okay? So additional MSW application narrative, and I'm going to be using my actual document that I apply as an example. But things to let you know, other requested documents, some people may request for you to attach a resume. Like with this application, I had to actually submit a resume. You want to make sure that you're showcasing any type of social work related experiences, definitely volunteer experiences as well. Don't forget about those. Any life experiences, work related experiences, something that's going to show your level of competence in those particular areas. Definitely a letter of reference. For my MSW program, I definitely would say that I had to do this, but this was definitely done electronically. So don't forget that. Sometimes letter of references are not always just the regular handheld papers and letters. I had to actually get the email addresses of the people that were going to do the personal references for me, professional references, and then they were actually given an actual questionnaire based upon that. So I had to kind of like connect with them, reach out to them, and like I said, I had to obtain their email addresses, and my letter of references was done electronically for my MSW program. You're actually definitely probably going to have to get an official transcript. Some people just may ask for a regular academic transcript, but my program requested for official transcripts, and we know that those are not free. Even though I had my BSW at that particular school, I went to the same school for my MSW, and I still had to pay for an official transcript. So do understand, just because you go to a school and complete a program and a degree there, you still have to pay. I know my school did. You still have to pay for an official transcript. So yeah, let me see what Rosie got to say over here. She said, yes, yes, yes. Yes. Okay, so you still have yours. Well, that's a good thing. It's so good to have, because you kind of reflect, especially throughout the time of your career. You may be down and out, or you may be wanting to help someone else, or just good reflection purposes to kind of look and see your journey of where you first started off. So I'm glad to hear that you have yours too. She said, well, the personal statement piece. Okay. Agreed. Spot on, Melanie. Yes, yes. And then you said you stayed in the same school, received your BSW, so that definitely helped. Yes. Okay, so you did the same. Okay. And some people do, especially when you've already versed in, like, the school works for you, the location, the program, the process. You kind of get a feel for it already. So I definitely was, like, already knowing. And then, like I said, at that time, it was not too many programs that were really kind of catering to people that actually was working full time and going to school full time. So that was one of the determining factors initially when I did my research on that. And if you guys need some additional, like, step by step, I have a very detailed video about the BSW MSW, applying to grad school, applying to your MSW program here on the channel. So definitely check that video out too, because a lot of people have given me a lot of feedback. It's highly detailed, and a lot of people have found that video to be very helpful. Okay. And then another thing with some other things to consider, my program didn't require it, but some people programs does, the GRE. So those testings and scores are needing to be something that they're going to factor in to determine, you know, if you're going to be a candidate for their program, and they look at the passing scores and all of that, if that is applicable to you. Because some social work programs, they do not require you to take the GRE. Some of them do. And I've heard that they actually are trying to do away with the GRE too. So definitely be mindful of that. That's something that you definitely want to know, like I said, because this is all a part of the admissions process. There may be some additional steps and parameters depending upon your social work program, but definitely be mindful to know if GRE is something that's a requirement, because you don't want to get in it to the program and then not even be aware of it, and then having to, you know, take it at the last minute and not be prepared to, or just if you're the type of person that don't even want to deal with that may be a deal breaker for you. So definitely look into that, okay? Also, definitely be mindful to be competent. So these are some things and some additional tips and things that you're definitely going to have to do, and other documents you may have to submit. But being competent in human development, that's going to be mindful. Be mindful of that. Diversity, because the work that we do, we service so many people. We service so many groups of people, so many levels of practice as it relates to the social work profession. So you definitely need to be versed in human development, diversity. Definitely, I'm sounding like a broken record, but things to really consider is the National Association core values, ethical principles, and ethical standards. Like for one, it's like 1.02, I believe it's for like self-determination, where customers have the right to self-determine what they want to do, what services they want. They can come in and may have a substance abuse disease, but then they're really asking for housing, and you may feel like, well, you know what, you may need to get sober first, and you may need to go to a rehab treatment program first before you get housing. But if a client is coming in and telling you they want housing, you have to meet them where they're at and provide those services to them. And then a person also has the right to, determine if they want to move on with services, they want to terminate services, and it really gives them their right to say, okay, well, I no longer want this services, or I only want to do this. So we don't dictate to people what treatment looks like for them. We don't dictate to people, what they have to do. We collaborate. So definitely make sure that you're versed, because you're going to be growing into knowing the processes and procedures of the profession. And it really starts with our core values. The code of ethics is something to definitely, have underneath your belt. But definitely, verse yourself and becoming more competent and aware of some of those different things and how it relates to your why, how it relates to the school, how it relates to the area of practice that your school and program offers, your school's mission statement, and then your reasons why. So those are things that can kind of help you too if you feel like you're like, oh goodness, I can't think of ideas of why, I'm so passionate about it. Look over some of the core values, and then some of those values may resonate with you. If it's any that does resonate with you, talk about it, explain about it. And those are things that the school and the committee would love to know, because I know with me, I had a panel for my BSW application process, but there was actually a missions committee for my MSW program. So I didn't have to physically go in, had to submit my information. Everything was sent and submitted to the actual admissions committee. So those are some differences there within the program. And then any additional things or additional requested documents they may ask you are like CEUs for continuing education hours, like ethics or normally those are like 4 CEU hours. But any type of continuing education trainings, any additional trainings that relates to the field or anything that's relevant to the field, any certifications or anything, certificates, programs, anything like that you have, definitely use that to highlight yourself. So definitely use that to highlight yourself, to shine, to show people like, hey, that you're a leader, that you have capabilities of not just only doing one thing, but you're connected to your community and you're connected by X, Y, and Z. So being able to show, you're doing some form of advocacy work, or you're doing something that keeps you engaged in the community is always helpful. And then I would say the last tip, really is to celebrate yourself. Like celebrate after you submit that BSW application, after you submit that MSW application, definitely do not forget to celebrate. Do something. And I have a video called Have You Celebrated Yourself? Like look at that video, because oftentimes we can get so much in our head, where we see a vision, we're working towards this, we're working towards that, we're working towards this, but we're not really, taking time out to say, you know what? I pat myself on the back. I did that. You know what I'm saying? We have to be able to bring it down and learn to appreciate those victories, both small and big, because it's something that you need to be celebrated for, because you're actually pursuing your goals. It takes a lot to say, you know what, I want to do this, and then do it, and then take action steps towards doing it. So it takes a whole lot. And before I kind of walk through the actual, I'm so excited about this. I don't know why. I do know why. Because it's like, here I am now. I'm a child and family therapist, and I'm growing in my work and growing in my career, and I've obtained my BSW, my MSW, and I have my LCSWA. And to be able to look over this to see where I started from, like this is everything, So hopefully you all find this very, very helpful. But let's go to the chat before I go into my actual MSW application narrative that I submitted, okay? So let's see here what Rosie has to say. She said she stayed in the same school, received her BSW, so that definitely helped. That was a good thing. Yes, self-determination is definitely important. Yes, I would definitely say that. She was talking about one of the ethical standards that's actually within the Code of Ethics and actually the National Association Core Values. So yes, she said, girl, I did not celebrate myself once I submitted my application. I was so anxious. Yes, because you're so nervous about it, because it's a big thing when you realize, you know what, this is something that I really, really want to do. When you realize it and you see it, you're going to have the emotions. That's why I say feeling nervous is normal. It's definitely okay. It's nothing wrong with that, But being able to, feel that and still work through those emotions, still work through those feelings and apply, that is something that needs to be celebrated. So without further ado, I am definitely about to walk into this. I'm definitely about to get into this. So, dun 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 dun. So I'm just going to highlight, because I'm not going to give you verbatim what I wrote, because we are governed by ethical practices. So I'm not going to just be here give you all my jewels and all my goodness. But I'm going to highlight it though, because you have your own jewels and you have your own goodness that you don't need mine. But I definitely want to be here to support you throughout your process. And if you have any more directly related questions as it relates to your MSW, the BSW application, or your personal statement, definitely don't forget to DM me on Instagram, Cornspirations, one word. You can go to my Abouts page on my YouTube, and you can go there. It'll take you directly there. So send me a DM if you have any other questions. If I get a certain amount, I'll definitely bring it into the social work live sessions if I don't have a video already on it, okay? So the first portion of it, it lists my strengths. So I went and I provided all of my strengths that I felt like I had. It pretty much talks about the strengths and the actions. So these are things you need to be considering. Things that you can probably just jot down for your planning stage before you do your personal statement. Jot down, what are your strengths? What are some things that you are good at? What are some things that people have told you that you're good at? What are some things that previous co-workers, colleagues, supervisors, managers, directors, program managers, what's been the feedback that you have heard? Any reoccurring themes that are coming up? People telling you that you're good with this, or you do really well here, or have you considered working here? Definitely start to jot down some of the things that you know about yourself and that others have definitely let you know that, hey, you rock here, you do really, really well here. So make a list of that. And then with strengths, we also have challenges, because we all are great. We know we're great, but we also are complex and we're human, and we definitely have areas of further development and improvement, and we have areas of challenges. So be honest here. I would say be honest and open about what some of your challenges are and what you're going to do to combat some of those challenges. Like, what are some of your goals, and saying like, hey, this is a challenge, but I foresee myself doing X, Y, and Z to be able to combat that, or this is my strategy, or this is my plan to be able to help me to be able to do X, Y, and Z. So be mindful of that. So those are some things that they ask in the application: your strengths, your challenges. Oh, I put a couple of challenges on it. Okay. And then the next one was career goals. So what are some of your career goals? Definitely, these are things that you definitely need to, be prepared for. And I would say this: once you actually get this personal statement, go over and read it. This is what is going to be the big portion of your content that you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about your strengths in your interview or your panel, or whatever the way your school, decides to do the actual application, if you're going to do it virtual. Because I know some people, with the video that I had about applying to MSW program, some people let me know that they had to record themselves doing their whole actual, personal statement. They had to record themselves doing it, and then they had to submit it. So you definitely want to get versed in on that. Versed in your strengths, versed in your challenges, versed in what some of your career goals are. So you have to sit and get quiet, or whatever way that helps you think, to reflect on different career goals. You want to give some thought into some things. Now, do you have any related experiences related to social work? Those are things you want to talk about. As I mentioned, it can be volunteership. It can be, like me, I know that I was a research assistant. Those are some things that you can, highlight. I didn't do that until I got to grad school, but I was in part of a, I want to say I was in a Christian association. Yeah, I was in a Christian association of social workers, National Associations of Christian Social Workers. Those were one of the things that I took a leadership role when I was in my BSW program. So different things, different extracurricular activities that you feel like you can really highlight and showcase your talent and abilities, definitely put that there. Any skills that you've obtained. So any relevant social work experience goes there too. Definitely be, jotting those things down. And then once you start jotting these different things down, it's going to compile. It's going to flow. You're going to find a way that's going to flow, but you have to kind of I know me from old school. I remember making them big old bubbles back in the day where it said brainstorm, having all the extra sticks here, sticks there, all of that stuff. And then you just put all your stuff around there, and then you compile it how you want how you do your structure of your paper. Yeah, and back in the day, your intro, you have your body, you have your conclusion, but you're answering all the questions. Yeah, let me go here, over here, what you seeing over here. Girl, yeah, you was telling me you didn't. I'm so happy for you, Melanie. You're definitely well educated and competent there. Only, oh, I love that. Thank you, Rosie. I appreciate that. I am still growing. When I tell you, like I told you, I feel like this is what I've been created to do. I really am really grateful that the Lord will see me fit to be a therapist. Like, doing clinical work is not always easy. It's very challenging, but it's so rewarding. And I just feel honored. I really feel honored, and I feel privileged to be able to be accepted into a person's family at sometimes some of the most vulnerable and very delicate and fragile times in a person's and a family's life. Because asking for help is not always easy. And a lot of people put a lot of trust upon people, even as social workers. But definitely as it relates to the clinical practice, I have been in love with just learning the field and growing in my profession and learning more skill sets. So I definitely would say that has been a big thing for me. I've been really, really enjoying the process. And like I said, it's not something that you just learn and stop learning. I've committed myself to be a life learner, and I'm sure you all as well, because when it's a difference when even at the personal statement, I'm talking about the career of being a therapist, but as it relates this, remember what you love about it. When you love something, when you find yourself doing something that you necessarily say, hey, I did this for a while, but this quite ain't it. Oh, I did this for a while. Sometimes those are always not bad experiences. Sometimes you need an experience to teach you that, what, this is a stepping stone for you to get where you have to go. Every place that we go to is not our destination. Hear this, and this may be for somebody. I'm telling you, every place that you go is not your final destination. We all have places that we're going within our journey, within our purpose, within our passion. And sometimes it can be very discouraging when you're in a season where you just feel stuck and you don't know and you want to be out of where you're at. I remember I was there. I was in a space in my life when I just felt like, oh my goodness, I'm tired of being here. Whatever this here is, I'm tired of it. I want to move on. And I just felt like, why do I have to stay? And I had to stay so I can do what I'm doing right here, encouraging you. That's one of the reasons why. And then impacting families' lives. Like I do not take it lightly, but I am so fulfilled. Like I said, becoming a social worker and the levels that I've progressed in has been one of the best decisions I have made within my career. And I'm so godly grateful for it. I really am. And I have a lot of passion. I want to be able to help people. My channel, I want to be able to help you develop as a student and develop as a person. Now, I'm telling you, I have some things that I'm working on, really in process. I'm still in my think tank with a lot of different things, but I want to bring to you all training and development. I really do. I want to be able to give you some courses and give you some training around how to navigate, because even when you're going through your process as a student, it gets real when you get into the professional work. It gets real. And I'm being frank and I'm being honest, you need support. You need support when you're working with the different agencies, different companies. It's a lot, and it can take a lot from you, but you need to be able to have a group of people that supports you, that roots for you, that can show you and tell you what you can do to maneuver and how to be strategic. Like I said, I pride myself on really help you connect the dots from the classroom to your career, because you're going to need that insight. The classroom is just a protection layer where you're getting academic prone information. It's definitely important. It's definitely essential. But you have to couple that with some experience. You have to couple that with what they say, rubber meets the road. You have to have experience. Classroom experience, but also professional. And it's a lot to navigate, and you make mistakes, and it's okay. But when you have someone, like I said, coaching you along the way, helping you, letting you know, like, hey, let's strategize here, what's your plan, what's your goals, it really helps you to save time. And I've been in a space where, like I said, I've been in a role and I've been in a season where I just was over it. I know what it feels like to be stuck. I know what it feels like to be wanting to do more, but not really necessarily feel like you're in a position that you can do more. Knowing that you have greater in you, but you don't know how to get it out of you, Like I'm telling you, I'm being very vulnerable and I'm being very open, and I know this is alive, but this is what I feel like this is a part of my passion. And, this is the reason why I created this channel in this space, So I don't take this lightly. I don't take it lightly. So take that for what it's worth, okay? Take that for what it's worth. Let's see. Let me go to the chat. She said, yes. So you're definitely a well-educated and competent therapist. It's only up from here. Yes, ma'am. And you are too, Rosie. You are too. All of my Jews and goodness. They had to record themselves for the personal statement. Times definitely. Yes, I heard that. They had to record themselves for their personal statement. And I think this was a little before COVID. This was on that video that I did about the applying to grad school. I have so much feedback from this, so a lot of people were kind of chiming in, and they told me they had to do that. I was like, are you serious? So like I said, these tips are kind of help. I'm going to kind of go over the rest of them. I just want to kind of go through the chats. You said amen. Yes, this is a word. Yes, I wasn't even thinking about saying that, but I'm just letting you know that, hey, this, and I think it allows me to reflect. By me finding my old paper too, it just lets me know that you just find joy in your journey. Every part of your journey, you're not going to like. You're not going to like. You be like, you know what, Lord, take me out of this. I don't want to be here. I don't understand. I don't want to understand. I don't want to be here. But sometimes it's necessary. It's necessary, you know. She said, I remember being there in 2019. Yes, I do, Melanie. I'm going to bother you even more after I graduate and get a job. I need support through and through. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And that's what I said. I really want to kind of transition my channel. I don't know. I really don't know what the Lord has for me with this channel. I really don't. I feel like it's still going to evolve as time goes on. But I know that I'm going to be here to help, you know. That I feel like I am going to be here to help in a major way. In a major way of really helping people. Because this is another thing too. Even as it comes to advocating for yourself, I didn't always have the skill sets for that. I didn't always have the skill sets and the confidence for that. I had to grow and develop that. I had to grow and develop that in trial and error. I'm telling you, I had to grow and develop that in trial and error. So it's just one of those things that I'm coming from you from a place of authenticity. I'm coming from you as I am. I have not always known all the right things to do and to say, but I've travailed, I've grown, I've learned, I failed again, I failed another time, and I got back up, and I kept on going, and I kept on going. And I think that's what really adds to you being resilient, you know. So those people that you feel like you're just frustrated, you may feel like, you know what, I want to find about, you know, the BSW MSW program because I'm tired of the work that I do. Some people feel undervalued. Some people feel unappreciated in the roles that they are in, you know, and a lot of that stuff transcends over to people's personal lives. I don't care how good you are at separating. Some people say, oh, you know, you leave work where it's at. But sometimes no, work come home with you, and work sleeps with you, and work wakes you up. I'm telling you, I've been there. I really have been there. So it's 9:31. I'm not going to go too far over tonight, but I'm just letting you know, be encouraged. Be encouraged in your journey. If you are pursuing the field of social work, just know that the journey is going to be a great one. It's not always going to be easy, but it's going to be a great one. The biggest thing that I feel like was really a big lesson is that I developed as a person as I developed within my program. And not a lot of careers you can say that. Sometimes it's so far-fetched that your program is here, your degree is there. But because our program is so, wrapped up into human development, we can't help but be affected by a lot of the insight and expertise that we're getting, you know. So I definitely would tell you to be encouraged. Social work profession is rocking. You rocking. You're going to do well. And if you need help, I'm going to be here, and I'm working on ways that I can be more of a help overall and continuing, because you need the support. A lot of times you get to the degree, and then what's next? You have to know how to position yourself. You have to know how to advocate for yourself. You have to know how to have confidence in yourself. Even when your confidence may be depleting, it may, be up and down one week, high one week, down another. You have to know and have support, throughout the process. But getting back to the last portions of what I actually submitted for my MSW program, it asks about my reasons for seeking my MSW degree. What's your reason for seeking your BSW degree? What's your reason for seeking your MSW degree? They're going to want to know that. And you're going to want to know that. Because sometimes when you get to some of those papers, sometimes when you get to some of those assignments, you're going to be like, oh, this is too much for me to do. Where do I have the time to do it? you're going to want to know your why. You're going to want to know your reasons. So definitely something to be considered. Understanding of cultural competency. That was something that was on there. Understanding cultural diversity. That was something that was on there. And that was pretty much the gist of what I had to do to submit. And then again, like I said, I had to submit my resume as well, which pretty much showed proof of my trajectory prior to coming into the program. But that is a nutshell, you all. That is a nutshell. I'm not going to do too much recapping today. I'm going to let you, replay the video if that's what you need to do, or rewind in the areas. But we did talk about the BSW and MSW application process, plus the positional statement tips for grad school. Again, we talked about the BSW and MSW application process and position statement tips in grad school. I talked about my process with the panel with BSW and my MSW process, and I also provided you some tips and gave you some additional heads up about other requested admission documents that they may ask you, or what may be requested for you to put into your actual personal statement. So I want to, thank you for being with me for tonight's live. And Rosie, girl, you rocking with me tonight. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for your graduation. And I'm probably going to have to, I'm going to have to get you something for your graduation. So you got to kind of give me some things that you like. Definitely tell me some things that you like, because you've been rocking with me for a while. And I've enjoyed our friendship that we have been, creating throughout this duration of time too. But definitely know I'm here for you too. Definitely know that. Let's see here. Yes, I do. I'm going to. Okay, yep. But yeah, the time is now 9:34. Again, I appreciate you all for joining this, tonight's Social Work Live. I cannot get over the fact, y'all, I found my original. I know y'all like, girl, okay, you found your application. But I am excited about it. I'm excited about it because I'm telling you, it's been a journey, y'all. It's been a journey. And even though I'm post-grad, 19, 21, 2 years, I'm still working on my licensure. Like, getting my hours, getting my clinical practice hours. I'm still submitting stuff to the board. Like, it's real. It is real. And sometimes that, school don't always prepare you for all the other things that you have to do, And like I said, I want to be definitely a resource for you all, to really advance your career, to advance your development as it relates to your student development, as it relates to your professional development. I was actually going to ask you if you wanted to link. Oh, girl, yes! Oh, my goodness. What, Rosie? Yes, ma'am. Definitely. I would definitely love a link to your commencement. That'll be awesome. Like, I count that as an honor, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I would love to have a link to your commencement so I can support you. Yes. Yes, I don't mind that at all. I would count it an honor, ma'am, to be a part of your commencement. You just have to let me know what time, so I'll be able to know too. But yes, that licensure part, yes, it's no joke. It's no joke. Like, I literally, oh my gosh, like, I would have just, like, paid somebody to probably, like, help me with some of the stuff. It's so much to it. And every state has their own bearings, processes, and procedures of how they want you to go through being licensed and submitting to the board, doing your reviews, making sure that you're having all your documents, contacting all of the people to have your plans in place. It's a lot, but I'm learning, and I'm helping others to kind of, like I said, go through that process too, because it's something that I'm telling you, you need support. You really need support, and being connected with other people and getting feedback from people that don't mind helping. I mean, it's essential. It's essential. But yes, okay, you're gonna DM me. Okay, perfect. But y'all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Thank you so much for watching. You are watching Core Inspirations. My name is Melanie. I am your social work development coach, and you are watching the Core Inspirations channel here, that has been intentionally, on purpose, designed for social work students and professionals. I talk about all things social work on this channel, and like I said, in a nutshell, you're going to get student and professional development here. So if any of things of that, from what I talked about tonight or what I just expressed to you resonate with you, do not forget to like, do not forget to share, do not forget to subscribe so that you can be officially welcome into the social work tribe. And like I said, I have a lot of things that are in store for the channel, of really me finding ways to really empower. That's what I want to do. Empower social workers to rock their social work career and rock your personal and professional development. Even while you're a student, it starts way up before being a student. But even when you become that social work student, your development as you become a student, you are developing, and that's important. A lot of people look over that. They go straight for, let me get the money, straight for the career. That's going to come in time, but you got to get to a process before you get to that. And you need to be developing even as a student. So don't forget that, okay? But again, this is Melanie, and I am signing off. Thank you all so much for joining me. All right, Rosie, I will talk with you later. Everybody have a good night.